day 28, December 27th. I won't be wearing any of my cold weather clothes today. It's about 45, low 40s, mid 40s today. Real nice, probably a 5-mile-per-hour breeze out of the west. So it's a beautiful day to be outdoors. We should be playing catch football or shooting baskets in the driveway or something like that, but nothing wrong with going deer hunting on nice days too. The redneck I'm going back to today is the one where we've been hunting Crusty III, third generation of the Crusties. We haven't seen him, we saw him when we were in there doe hunting earlier at the tail end of November. But we haven't seen him back there since. I think he's a regular though. We had a guest in here hunting and he saw the buck 6 or 7 times in 6 or 7 days during November. So the chance of seeing this deer is always pretty high. The downside is he does like the other side of the food plot. He likes to stay on the other side, but the deer have fed most of the Big-N-Beasty out of the other side. So most of the food now is right up by the blind. So increasingly now the deer are moving closer and closer to the blind. So that's all a good formula. Again, the weather is not ideal for late season movement, but we'll have a nice time in the blind, and you never know. This deer hasn't been harassed much, so there's no reason for him not to come out. So if he's a little bit hungry, there's some Big-N-Beasty out there. Hey, might be all we need. There's an antler out there. No way. Yep. Pretty good sized one. Really? Yeah. Do you see it? How far out? 35 to 40. Straight out in front of the blind. I might run out and get it. Yeah. That's a pretty big deer.
Yeah, it's a good size antler for sure.
That's not the buck we're after though.
That might be bigger than the buck we're after.
Yeah. I was just doing a couple of quick lookovers on the food plot, and I see a shed antler about 40 yards in front of the blind. In fact, that's going to be my range reference. In case Crusty comes out, I'm going to hit that, and that'll tell me. "36 yards. So if he's inside of the antler, he's good to go. If he's on the other side, it's a little questionable. So now we just need another buck to come out and drop an antler at like 40 or 45 or something like that. Then we know kind of like our little window there that we can shoot in. I suppose there could be some spikes or something out there, but they're a little bit harder to see. That's a pretty nice antler. It's not Crusty, but it looks like a pretty solid buck. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's cool to find them, but you hate to have them on the ground when you're trying to hunt the deer that would probably be carrying them. So that means that our targets are going to start to get a little bit reduced over the coming weeks if they're starting to shed already.
Man, you would think old Crusty would show up.
Yeah.
He hasn't really been hanging out with these guys though, has he?
Yeah, he is. There's 2 more just came out from the far end, doe and a fawn. I don't know how much, but the time I was here during the late bow season shooting does, he came out with this bunch.
Really?
Yeah. But that was 20 minutes left of shooting time.
Yeah.
Had a pile of bucks come out already this afternoon. There's still an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes left of legal shooting time. And the food plot just filled up with bucks there for a little bit. And then It's funny when you get that many deer and they've all got their heads down. A little buck bumped a doe. She went running, and all the other deer thought there was some kind of danger, so they kind of startled and started to run. But they're mellowing back out again now. They're a little bit spooky. One doe spotted us moving the camera around to shoot this interview. She's been staring up here, so the rest of the deer are on a little bit more red alert than they were just 15 minutes ago. Last time I hunted this spot, we had something similar to this happen. All the deer came out real early. The doe just blew. She doesn't know what she saw. I mean, she's just being a doe. But all the deer came out early, fed for a while. Then for no reason, they just went back in the woods, and that was the end of it. An hour of legal shooting time left, and there wasn't a deer that came out after that. But hopefully that's not the case tonight. Hopefully Crusty still makes an appearance. There was one really nice 3-year-old. Well, he could be a 2-year-old. I mean, he's got a long-legged, skinny little body with a really nice set of antlers. So it's possible that he's just a 2-year-old. But there was another buck that came out, probably a 4-year-old, an 8-pointer that doesn't look like he has very much potential. Well, he doesn't for sure. Short-tined, just a compact little rack. And that'd be a good buck to kill. He was one of the last bucks that came out. I don't see him out there right now. But I still think no matter what, I've got my heart set on trying to get Crusty off this food plot. So rather than shoot something else at this point, I'm probably just going to hold on and see if he comes out. We're down to 3 or 4 deer left in the field now. They're all drifting off. That's pretty much it for now. So if they don't come back out again quick, we might be looking at an empty field for a while. Down to the last half an hour now. Maybe it's 40 minutes or so left. The deer left the field, and then one small buck and 4 fawns came back out again. We've seen one doe to my right since then, but none of the bucks that were out there earlier have come back out, and still no sign of Crusty. I don't think they got scared bad. I just think I don't know, it's weird. This time of year, they don't do predictable things. They'll come out, feed for a little while, leave. They might walk off half a mile, quarter of a mile to another food plot and feed for a little while. Who knows? I mean, but they're not necessarily doing stuff that we are used to seeing deer do during most of the season. As long as they're not getting hammered, which they aren't here, they do some pretty crazy stuff during the middle of the day. So I don't know what to expect with this last 40 minutes. I'd like to think we're going to get a couple of bucks back out again, but it wouldn't surprise me if it just dies right off. I want to at least get my eyes on Crusty so I know he's still alive back here, so that gives me some hope to keep coming back to this spot. I think the next 2 nights I'm going to be out, so keep checking back for video blogs, and weather's supposed to be pretty mild during that whole period, so you just don't know. Like I said, it's a weird time of the year, but anything can happen at any minute. So keep checking back, and we'll show it all to you right here on Winke's vlog. There's a bigger one coming. Right up the gut.
Yep, I got them both.
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know what deer that is. Oh, it's that big 3-year-old. Oh, dang it. Or 2-year-old or whatever it is.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I thought, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
There's another buck in mind.
Is that the direct one? No.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. That'd be awesome.
He's closing pretty fast. Yeah, he is. Another buck just came in. I bet you Crusty shows yet. No. There was no reason for that. What spooked? Was it that deer? That was the buck that we had nicknamed the Tight Rack 10. It was such a close call on that buck tonight. The closest he got was 45. And he was angling toward me when he was 45. And I told Eric that if he was 40, clean broadside 40, I would take the shot. And I think he would have been eventually. We've still got about 15 or 20 minutes left here before we run out of camera light. So it's not as if, we were down to our last couple of minutes. But I think what happened, there was a fawn that was right underneath the blind. And then that really nice 3-year-old was just about 20 yards to our left. Not, so close that it was so far to our left, I should say, that we couldn't really film it. But I think there was a rabbit or something in the tree line that this blind is in, and it must have jumped or made some kind of sound. And it was just enough to startle that fawn. And that fawn took 2 or 3 steps forward real fast. And that sent the whole field running. And it's frustrating because I've seen it happen before where a rabbit will clear a field or almost anything, sometimes a possum, or I've seen cats. There's a rabbit out there now, but I've seen cats clear a field before because the deer this time of the year, they all react. If one reacts and it overreacts, then that's enough for the rest of them, and they all go. So that's what happened tonight, unfortunately. We're not going to see anything that we want to shoot anymore. I'm certain of it. There's a small buck that's just leaving the other end of the field still, but we're too close to the end now. They're not all going to come back out again, so our hunt is over with. But the nice thing is, we didn't spook them. The field is cleared, and we can potentially come back and keep hunting that buck either here or at the other blind that I've got set up about, I don't know, it's probably almost a half a mile away. And that's where I was more expected to see that deer. I think I'm going to leave that shed. I'm not going to go out there and pick that thing up and leave scent right now. We'll get it another time. But pretty exciting. Tight Rack 10, pretty cool deer. He wouldn't score much, but he's just a cool 5-year-old buck that it'd be fun to tag him.